Alright guys, welcome to this video. My name is Mike Attebery. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you the A to Z of how to transact your first deal in real estate investing. So I know there's a lot of you guys that have been thinking about real estate, watching videos, maybe you're on the fence about getting started. I want to make this as simple and as easy and as A to Z as I possibly can for those of you that have not done your first real estate deal. So before we get started, just want to be clear, this video is not for you if you have done a ton of real estate deals, if you've already transacted several flips, several properties, you've already bought a bunch of rental properties. If you already understand the process, this video is not going to be too valuable for you. But for those of you who have yet to do your first deal, this video is entitled First Deal 101. So we're going to go through it. Before we get started, before we get in too deep, I want to explain who I am, what level I'm at, so that we're clear on who I can teach and who I can't teach. My name is Mike Attebery. I have both a video content agency as well as a house flipping and real estate investing company in the Kansas City area. I live in St. George, Utah now, but I'm actually moving to Arizona. But I still operate my company in Kansas City, so I'm back and forth a lot. But in the past few years, in fact, the last 3 years, I have done 13 or 14 real estate transactions. And actually I just got my next house under contract 2 days ago. So on 12 of those 14 deals, I have been profitable, or I am buying and holding them. There has only been 2 deals that I have lost money on or broken even on. One of them I am closing on this week, and I'm going to break even net, basically zero, move on, cut my losses, go to the next deal. The other one I lost like $10,000 on. So I've been pretty successful so far in my journey. I haven't flipped hundreds of homes. So if you're somebody that is at that level, or you're trying to learn how to get to that level, I am not the guy to teach you yet, but I do aspire to be there one day. This video is for the beginners. For the guys or girls that have not jumped in yet, this video is for you. So before I got started in real estate, I had moved to California. I was working a 9-to-5 job, and I started watching videos about real estate because when I was young, I had an uncle who had a lot of money all the time. Everybody knew he could pay for stuff. He bought a brand new Hummer when they first came out, and the wealthiest guy that I personally knew. As I grew up around him, I started to realize that he had a lot of real estate. He had a lot of rental properties. That triggered something within me, and that stuck with me for a while. And after high school and college, I started researching real estate investing. So I started watching videos. I think I saw some of the first Bigger Pockets videos, Brandon Turner. I just started listening to a bunch of real estate influencers. I started watching YouTube videos. I was watching Grant Cardone in my grandparents' house and telling them about this. I'm like, look at this. This guy makes a ton of money doing real estate. Maybe we should be doing real estate. What are we doing? In high school and college and after college, I got very interested in real estate, but it took me years to actually take action and execute on what I had learned. And so that's what I want to prevent from you, for you guys. I want you guys to be able to jump right in, get started now, and take action and start making progress on your real estate investing goals. So first, you have to make the decision that you're gonna do it. You got to make the decision that you're going out and you're looking for your first deal and you're going to take action. When you're ready to start looking for your first real estate deal, the 2 places that I would suggest you start with are just the regular MLS. The MLS is just the multiple listing service. There's one in every region, and these are the houses that are listed on the market for sale. And personally, most of my deals that I've done to this date have come from the MLS. A place that has properties from the MLS is a place like Zillow, it's Realtor.com, Homes.com now. All these places that are public websites, these are where you're going to find properties that are on the market. But this is by far the easiest way to find your first deal. And like I said, I've done most of my deals from houses that were on the MLS. So there are deals out there, even though you think there's a lot of competition, or maybe everybody already knows about them. That's okay. It's okay. You can still get a good deal on the MLS. Depending on how much you've been researching and how much you've been learning, I would suggest that you could do this with a real estate agent. And a real estate agent, if you found one to help you on the buyer side, it would make this whole process a lot easier. But you can do this by yourself. So I'm going to teach you how to do it by yourself. If you have an agent, it's going to be much more streamlined. They're going to know the contracts. They're going to know how to comp properties. They're going to know how to write and submit the offers. That's going to help you on that end. But you don't have to have a real estate agent. The first thing is agent or no agent. That is the first question to ask yourself. Second thing, understand the contracts. Now, you don't have to understand it like an attorney would understand it, but you need to familiarize yourself with it. The next thing you're gonna do that I would highly recommend is that you get a sample contract for your multiple listing service region or your state or your county. Get a sample real estate contract. Find a realtor that you know. Everybody knows a bunch of real estate agents, realtors. Find one that you know. Have them send you a sample purchase and sale agreement or a sample real estate contract to your email. It's a PDF. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna spend some time going through an entire, reading line by line, word by word, the entire contract that this agent sends you. What that's gonna do, it's gonna help you familiarize you with the terms and what you're actually agreeing to in a real estate transaction. And it's gonna jog some questions for you, but it's also gonna make you understand the process better when you actually go to purchase the home or transact the real estate, whether you have an agent or not. So the first thing is find a sample contract, start reviewing, and there's different ones, right? You can use different ones. There's not one contract that you must use that I know of. I know in my area, there's for our MLS, all the agents, they use the same one. But there's other deals that I've done where I've used my own contract. Everything is negotiable and you can use your own contract in real estate deals. But I would suggest just getting one for free from a realtor, a real estate agent that you know, taking some time to review that contract and understand it. Start your search. Once you get familiar with the contracts, now you're gonna be like, okay, I got a little progress. Now you're gonna start looking on the MLS, you're gonna start looking on Zillow, you're gonna start looking on realtor.com, you're gonna start looking at homes.com, you're gonna start looking for places where you can find your first investment property, whether that's a flip or a rental. So now there's a bunch of ways that you can search for properties, but you just need to you need to be looking at properties every single day. You need to be looking at Zillow, you need to be looking at the new houses and the new homes that pop up. You need to be looking at a few things. You need to be looking at the purchase prices, you need to be looking at the condition, you need to look at the bedrooms and bathrooms, the square footage, and the price per square foot. When you start to get a lot of reps at looking at all those metrics on a lot of houses, you're gonna start to see trends and notice patterns. When you start to see trends and notice patterns, you're gonna identify, okay, well, this house is priced a lot cheaper than some of these other houses. This house has great pictures, it has staging photos, it's in a nice neighborhood, it's got fresh paint, and it's priced at $300,000. But this other house, it's kind of beat up, the pictures are really bad, it's got a broken window, the tile and some of the finishings are outdated, and it's priced at $185,000, whatever that is, right? You're gonna start to notice like some of these potential investment properties that you can find. So there's a ton of different searches. I'm not gonna get in depth on how to search for the properties, but there's a thousand different things that we could type into Zillow or any of these websites to find specific situations or properties. But what I want you to understand, what you're looking for is a distressed seller situation. What that means is there's some kind of pressure on that seller, whether that's money, whether that's another type of pressure would be that days on market. Like if a house has been sitting for 90 days, 120 days, beyond, something is going on with that house, and that seller is gonna be more desperate to sell and get rid of it and more negotiable, most likely, okay? Same goes with properties that aren't in good condition. When they're not in good condition, the owner doesn't wanna come in and renovate the property and hire an agent and deal with a bunch of showings and repairs and everything else, right? They just want to get rid of the property sometimes. So you need to start looking for situations or homes where it'd be there's some reason for that seller to sell besides like, hey, I just kind of want to sell my home, list it with an agent, put it on the market and get the best price. So start looking at a lot of deals, get a lot of reps. If you want, besides looking at websites like Zillow, MLS, all those places, you can get with a local realtor if you decide you want to use one, and they can set you up on automated email searches. So they will send you automated emails for different search criteria in that area. But like I said, we can do another video on searches and different criteria and things like that. I'm not going to go super in depth on that, but that's what you're going to start doing, getting a lot of reps, looking at a lot of deals and a lot of houses in different situations, different zip codes, different conditions. Okay, the most important number that you're going to need to understand, in my opinion, is going to be understand really bad handwriting. ARV. ARV is the after repair value. So if you see a home that's fixed up, it's nice, it's newly updated, it's listed, it's got fresh paint, it's on the market, it's at top dollar, that is a example of what an ARV is going to be like, the after repair value. So when we're looking at homes to flip, we want something that's in less than ideal condition that we can fix up and add value to and resell. But you have to understand the correct numbers for what that house is going to resell for. And that's the most important number, because if you get that number wrong, that's how the deal can fall apart, right? And you can get other numbers wrong here and there, but you don't want to make a major mistake on what you think the ARV is. You need to have a good understanding of the market, and this is where a realtor or a real estate agent can come in to help you if they have a good feel for the market and what the ARV will be of a home. But you need to start understanding, okay, if I fix this one up, I don't know how much I'm gonna have to spend yet, but I do know if I fix this one up, it's gonna be worth $220 because one of the ones 3 houses down just sold and it's very similar. So that's gonna give you a good idea. So start understanding ARV. The next thing is, once you identify a few deals or one deal in particular, you are going to either have your real estate agent or realtor reach out to the listing agent to start making an offer, or you're going to submit an offer on that property yourself. Now, this is where it's important to understand the contracts, right? You got to understand how to write that contract up if you're going to be the one submitting the offer yourself. The most important things in a contract, like when I am submitting an offer with my agent, which I do have a buyer's agent that helps me submit my offers, and I've done it both ways. I've done it myself. I don't need him to do it every time for me, but at this point in my life, it makes a lot more sense for him to do it for me than for me to do it. Whenever I'm sending an offer to him, before we even start writing it up, I'm texting him what my terms are going to be. And the important terms that you need to know are purchase price, okay, closing date. So if you're using a bank, how many days do they need until they can close? With some of my banks that I've used, it's usually 30 days. Or if you're paying cash, if you're funding it with cash, you could close in 7 days or 10 days. It just depends on your financing mostly for the close date. But the close date and then the contingencies. Contingencies are like if-thens of the contract. Like, does it have an appraisal? Do you have to have an appraisal for the value above what you're purchasing it for before the bank will let you buy it? Or is there a contingency for the inspection? Now, I always like to have an inspection period, but in some cases, your offer will be stronger if you take it with no inspection period and no right to cancel. But I always like to leave myself an out in case a deal goes wrong, in case I can't line up funding. I like to do a 3 to 7 day inspection period. Now, there's some contracts where the entire 30 days can be an inspection period, and you can cancel up to that 30th day. And that's fine. What you need to understand about the contract is everything is negotiable in most cases, right? You just have to get the seller to agree with you. So those are the important terms that you're going to need to know. The contingencies, what kind of financing you're doing, the purchase price. These are all going to be the components of your offer. So have those in order and get your offer written up and send it over, email it, sign it, email it, send it over to the listing agent, and we'll move on to the next step, offer. Okay, once we send that offer over to the agent, sometimes we get feedback right away and they say, hey, my seller is not going to accept your offer, or sometimes they will offer to renegotiate. Sometimes they will have a counter offer. Sometimes you will hear crickets and hear nothing. And this is the most frustrating thing that happens to me with dealing with other agents, is you don't hear any feedback. You don't know if you're high, you don't know if you're low, you don't know if they love it, you don't know if they hate it, you don't know what they want to change about it. So if I don't hear back by the next morning or the end of the day, that business day, the following day, I will be reaching out personally, or I'll have my agent reach out and try to get some feedback on, hey, did your seller have anything he liked or disliked about the offer? What do you guys think? I'm always pushing because speed is important in business, right? We want speed, we want velocity, we want to be moving through getting contracts signed, doing deals, and moving on. So speed is important to me. So I'm always reaching out, trying to get feedback, and most agents will give you feedback one way or the other pretty soon, usually within 24 to 48 hours. Now, if you're submitting some kind of bid into an automated system, sometimes there's no feedback. You just don't get accepted, and you know that you bid too low, or that they didn't like your terms, which those ones are the most frustrating. So I would suggest not bidding on a house that's some sort of automated system or like a foreclosure auction or like something like that. Those are really tougher. I've had more issues getting deals like that. It seems like there's more competition and they wait for everybody rather than the first one who gets to it and makes a good offer quickly. So that's really frustrating. So you want to try to get feedback from the agent and negotiate through whatever the issues are with the seller. If the seller doesn't have issues, he's gonna accept your offer. He's gonna sign that same contract that you sent over with your offer, and then now you're going to be what we like to call in the biz under contract. Yay, we're under contract. You got a deal locked up. Now, that doesn't mean that something couldn't happen and the seller cancels or the house burns down. Like, who knows? It could happen, but you got the deal locked up. We're pretty certain that this is going to be your first deal, your first flip, or your first rental. Now that you've got it locked up, remember I talked about the contingencies in the contract. So if you got an inspection, and I hope that you did, because I did not have go look at the house in this process here, because what I do is I'll look at the pictures, I'll evaluate the numbers, I'll look at it online because I'm not home. I'm not in Kansas City still, so what I'll do is I'll evaluate it remotely. But then if I get under contract, I will have an inspection period, maybe 3 days, and maybe 7 days, and maybe 10 days. But I'm gonna have an inspection period almost all the time, unless I'm really like doing a cash deal with a wholesaler and there's no inspection, and usually even then there's a walkthrough, but it's hard to be available for those all the time. So you got the deal under contract, you have an inspection period, hopefully, and what you're gonna do now is you're gonna have those days to go look at the property and do the due diligence. Go look at it, go walk around it, go find contractors, bring them in, walk the house with you, have them walk the house with you and evaluate the property and what they would charge roughly. This is what I do. I have them kind of give me a rough estimate, like, hey, give me a ballpark. Let's go look at this thing. Give me a ballpark, and then I'll write up a detailed scope later. But this is your time to make sure that your numbers, what it's going to cost, what you're paying for it, plus what it's going to cost to repair it, is going to be less than what it's going to sell for on the market when you're done. So use that 7 days, get your plumber over there, get your electrician over there, get your sheetrock guy over there, get your painter over there, whatever it is that needs repair to get to a similar condition as the other comps on the market. Get those contractors over there, have them start working up what they think it would cost to get this property flipped. And that's something that I can do now on my own because I have a lot of experience in construction before I started flipping. So it's a little bit easier for me. And then now I've done 12, 13 deals. I have an eye for knowing what things cost when it comes to renovations and repairs. But your best bet is to have a few different contractors go over there with you. Do the numbers on, if you want, do the numbers on materials, and then just have the contractors bid the labor. Estimate the interest that you're going to pay over the time that you're borrowing the money to do the deal. This is the time that you need to really crunch the numbers over the inspection period. Crunch the numbers.